So the next thing I want to talk about is action tags. Now we've talked about action tags quite a bit, and I'm sure a lot of you who are on the call know how to use action tags, but I felt like it was time for us to sort of have a structured, organized discussion with action tags, because I'd like to go through the ones that are standard with REDCap and then build off of that, because there are some external modules that have their own action tags that you can use when you enhance that feature using the module. There are some that use action tags specifically for that module to enable a feature. And so I wanted to have a foundation of these action tags that we can build on from here on out in other videos. So I created an action tags demo, and I'll just go to the records here and show you. And we're just going to walk through them. So the first one here is the character limit, and this allows you to set a number of characters in a text field or a notes field, and then it also displays the number of characters remaining. So the labels here that I've created for the fields is the actual action tag that I've created, and I'll show you this real quick in the designer, but this is just so I don't have to keep switching back and forth to the designer to show you. But let me go quickly about how you add an action tag. So the action tags are down here in the action tags field, and then you click on this little button here for action tags, and it brings up all of the available action tags that are standard in REDCap, and there's quite a few of them. And then you would just click on the add button, and it adds it to your action tag. And then some of them are just that, like password mask and no missing, those kinds of things. They're just the action tag, but there are some that need a value, and there's some of them that need a number, and some of them that need a text value. So this one just needs a number because you're giving it a length. And so what I've done is I've copied the action tag and put it in the field label, so that way we can just go through those without me having to toggle back and forth between the design view and the record. So let's go back to the record. So this is the character limit, and it's got 20. So now I've got 0 characters, so if I keep typing, it's not going to let me put anything in there. And you can change this to whatever you want. It can work on a text field and a notes field. The only thing is that it can't be used with the word limit. So another thing about action tags is that they're stackable, is that you can have multiple action tags within your field. So you could have a word limit and a password mask. You could have a word limit and like a default value, that kind of thing. So you can't have the character limit and the word limit in the same field. Vice versa, you can't use word limit with character limit. So word limit, it lets you it sets a maximum number for the number of words instead of characters. So if I just start typing randomly, that's all one word. But until I hit a space, it's going to take that. And so if we just say, this is just a test, I have more left. Now it's going to tell you that I have no more remaining. And what this does is, with the character limit, when it hits its limit, it stops. It keeps you from entering anything else. With the word limit, what it does is it takes out the spaces and just jams everything together as one word at the end. So it'll allow you to keep going, but it just treats that last word as one word. It doesn't, so if I hit the space bar, nothing happens. So that's something to watch out for. All right. So the next set is called @default. and it's one action tag, but you can do you can do a variety of things with it. So the first thing, I just have these as red, blue, green, 1, 2, 3, and I have the default as red. So when the page loads, it's giving me the default of 1, which is red. And it can be for option radio buttons, it can be for checkboxes, it can be for drop downs, it can be for text fields, and it can be for dates. So the second one I have checkboxes, it's for, this one's default is 2, so it's blue. And then if I uncheck it, I can check anything else, but if I reload the page, blue will be checked. And then if I have checkboxes, I can actually set multiple checkboxes to be default. So if I have 2 values that I want to check, I would just separate them by a comma. So I have red and green. Same thing with the drop down, is I have it set for green, which is 3. And then here I have, it's a text field. I just have text that says yellow, and so it's actually putting in the word yellow. So if I have a text default value for text that I want to put in, then I can actually just type in that sentence or type in that text, and it'll put it in there for me. Now for dates, you can have this date field be any format you want: date, month, year, month, date, year, however. But when you set the default, you have to have it in year, month, day formatting for whatever date field you want. So when you set the default, you have to have it in that way, but you can have your text field be whichever format you want. The next group is action tags that allow you to hide fields on different data entry views, and also to hide buttons and choices. So the first one is, you can't see it here because it's hidden, but it's hidden up. At hidden hides the field everywhere. So we're in the data entry view here, and let me go back up to the top. I'll open up the designer and the survey, since we're going to be looking at both of those. So if we go to the design view here, you'll see that I have a field called @hidden. And you could use that for calculated fields or anything that where you just want a value that nobody sees, but it's something that's kind of working behind the scenes. It hides it everywhere. So it's not going to show up in the data entry view. It's not going to show up in the survey here. But if you're using the REDCap mobile app and you only want to hide the field on the mobile app, you would use hidden-app. If you want to hide it on the PDF, so if we downloaded a PDF of this record and you want that field to be hidden there, so if you have, let's say, a medical record number or any PHI that you don't want to be printed, you could set that action tag as hidden PDF. So anytime somebody prints out a PDF of that record, those fields are hidden, so then you don't have to worry about PHI being leaked or visible to people who don't have permissions for that. The next thing is hidden survey. So you can see here that the hidden field on the survey shows up on the data entry form, but if we go to the survey, it's missing. So if you want something, we have people that use it for something that they can, it's more like administrative roles where they send out a survey, somebody fills it out, and then they can, when they get the survey back, they can actually enter their scores and all that stuff so that the user doesn't see it, but the person who runs the survey can see it in the back end. So that's all of the hidden text fields. The next one is hiding the button for date fields. So if we go back up to this date field here, you'll see that there's a button for today. So this hide button just hides that button for you. And then hide choice allows you to hide a choice in a multiple choice field. So I have the same as I have up here, red, blue, green, and right now I'm hiding blue. So depending on how you set this up, you could have a value that you don't want anybody to pick anymore, you can hide it. So we run into a lot of problems where people want to update their checkboxes or their radio buttons. They want to change the name of something, or whatever they had isn't applicable anymore and they want to change it. And so they go into the design and they start changing all the radio button values. And then the problem with that is they already have data linked to the original values and the original options. And if they switch the options, then those values can be assigned to different options and corrupt their data. So instead of doing that, if blue is no longer an option that you want anymore, you would just hide that choice. And so you don't have to mess with the actual values and the options. You just take that choice out, and nobody can see it anymore. The next thing is...
Quick comment.
Yeah.
Wait, a quick comment. I highly recommend that over deleting the option. Deleting the option may very well cause you problems, like Manuel was talking about, but I've made the mistake until I started using that. Deleting is not a good solution. Just hide it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep, no problem. The next two are not really applicable for the data entry page, but would be good for mobile apps. It's latitude and longitude. If you wanted the GPS value, these would get automatically put in. And I think, let me refresh this. It should ask me. What will happen is, and I might have already clicked yes or no when I was demoing this. Here we go. So let me just close this, and let's see if when it reloads again now, it should ask. Oh, it's a Chrome thing. When this page loads, when you use the latitude and longitude, it'll ask you, and I mean, you guys have probably seen web pages that say, REDCap would like to know your location, yes or no kind of thing, or allow or block. And basically what this is doing is it's taking the GPS value of your location and it's putting the latitude value here and the latitude value here. And I think if I hit update, it might, nope. So that will come in by default. And if you have these, that little warning message will pop up whenever you load the page, unless you've clicked allow or block already, and then once it does that, it remembers that choice. Those might not be very useful, but I'm sure somebody would find a use for those. The next one is max checked, and that allows you to have a checkbox group and set a limit on the number of choices a person can make. So right now I have 2 choices, and so it's not going to let me check all 3. It'll complain. It tells me that I've selected the maximum number. I have to uncheck one if I want to check something else. And if I try to check it again, it's going to complain again. So this would be something where if you had a question like pick your 2 favorite ice cream flavors or something like that, and they can only pick 2. And so then you've limited their options. But it only works for checkboxes. And the other thing too is that it doesn't get enforced during data import. So if I had all 3 of these fields checked in a database somewhere or in another project, and I bring that data in, it's not going to uncheck one of those values and say, nope, you only get 2. It's going to give you all of the data. A lot of these action tags don't work, are not enforced during data import, so you don't have to worry about that. The next one is kind of difficult to explain, maybe not. You get to set the max number of choices for each choice. So right here what I have is red is 1, blue is 2, green is 3. And here in max choice I'm saying that of all the records that I'm going to have in this project, I'm only going to allow red to be chosen 3 times. And once red is chosen 3 times, it's no longer available. And blue is going to be chosen once, and once it's chosen 1 time, it's no longer available. And 3 is green, so once green is chosen twice, it's no longer available. So the reason blue is grayed out here is because I have another record that I already created. Nope. That has blue selected for this. Oh, that's... So here you go. I have a max choice of blue and green, so that blue has been checked once, green has been checked once, and red hasn't been checked at all. So when I go back to add my record, you'll see that blue is no longer available because it's been picked once. Green is available. And so if I save this and go to the next record, you'll see now that green and blue are unavailable because I've already selected blue once, I've already selected green twice, so the only value left is red. So this would be something where if you have, the first 50 people who fill out something, once you hit 50 for a value, then it's no longer available, or 75 or 100, however you want to do it. This is how you would do it with max choice. The next thing uses the missing data codes, and you'll see up here on, let me see, here for green, I have the data code set up for unknown. So if nobody selects anything, this will be the value for a missing data field. So that way I know that somebody didn't select something instead of it being blank. And what this does is, let me go back here. So when you set up the missing data codes, it adds this little M here. So you mark the field as missing. So if this was unknown, I can select unknown here. So I've marked this field as missing. So that way when I go back to look at the data, I vetted this data and I said, okay, that was supposed to have a value. Nobody picked it. It wasn't left blank on purpose, or it was left blank on purpose, but it's missing, and I've verified that it's missing, and I put unknown there. This no missing, basically what it does is it takes this little M and just hides it. So you don't even have the value, the option of selecting no missing. And so I'm not sure exactly why you would do that. If you went through the trouble of putting in the missing data codes, maybe it's for a field that you don't have missing value, or you don't care for the value, if the value's there or not. And then you just want to hide that M, so that way it's not an option for somebody to click on here. The next one is none of the above. So this allows...
Wait.
Yep.
Wait. Quickly, for the no missing. So the no missing is something that you set up on your project, and you identify that is something available for all of your option buttons, your drop downs, and your checkboxes. So it's available for all of them by default. You aren't configuring it for a single field. So if you have a field where you want to limit them to only those selections that you've entered, and thus not offer them the no missing options that you define, and that's something that is a video. We have a video on the no missing feature because that's relatively new, but that's why you would want to use the no missing feature, because you want to make sure that's not available to them on that particular field.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, that's great. So the next thing is the none of the above, and that allows for a designation in a checkbox to be none of the above. So if I had, if I had checked, like if none of these are my favorite colors, I would pick none of the above. But if I check green or red or blue, and then if I check the none of the above, it's going to tell me, wait a minute, you've already selected something here. Now you're telling me none of these are applicable. You want to clear these, and so if I select yes, it clears all those and then selects none of the above. And you set that value. Yes?
Daniel.
Yes.
When you're done with this, just for the rest of the group, I know it's 2 o'clock, so Why don't we save the rest of these until next week, and then we can go through those since we usually need something to show anyway.
Okay.
That works okay for you.
Yeah, that sounds good. This is a good
so go ahead
stopping
and
point.
finish this one, and then for the rest of the group, just so you know, we'll shut down after this.
Okay. Well, and that one's, we can just stop there. This is pretty self-explanatory. The other thing is that you can set multiple values here. So if I wanted, like the example here is that it's none of the above and, or did I put that in there? Yeah, none of the above. Or no, maybe I didn't put that in there. Let me read. No, I didn't put it in there. But you could have the option or the text in the action tags box. It explains that if you had not applicable and none of the above, that you can set multiple check boxes, so that way they could have either or both. And the way you do that is just comma delimit them for both of those. So then we'll pick up the rest of these next week, and that'll actually give me some time to look over the external modules and see if there's any that I can pull in and demo as well.
Awesome. All right, thank you all for joining, all the new people this week. This is great. We had somebody come in with a problem, which was great. So please get the word out. If anybody has, a problem with their project and would like to bring it to the group on Thursdays, this is a perfect opportunity. We are available. A lot of times we have trouble fitting in everybody. Like somebody will send us an email. It's hard for us a lot of times to work somebody in during the week. So this is a great place. We're always available at 1 o'clock on Thursdays. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this. But thank you all for joining, and hope to see you all again next week.